So my name is Michael Sausley. I've been attending Faith Bridge. Actually, I started attending a men's group before I actually started attending regular services. My friend Tom Borg from work invited me to the men's group, and it was just totally awesome. Well, the guys, of course, they're gonna talk about Sunday service and the great messages. So I was doing everything online, of course, with the pandemic, we're doing everything online. So I started checking out Faith Bridge online, watching the worship service and watching the message, which was so totally awesome. And then when the guys would talk about it at, the men's group, then I heard the sermon too. Shortly after I joined the men's group and I'm watching Faith Bridge online and really starting to connect with Faith Bridge, my father got a diagnosis of bladder cancer. So when we got the diagnosis in the hospital, and I called Sean, and I'm like, hey Sean, I'm not gonna be able to go Thursday to men's group, I'm sorry. And I hate missing men's group. And Sean's like, we'll do Zoom. I can Zoom you in, it's not a problem at all. I would sit in the hospital room and I'd have men's group. Getting the men's group in, my father was able to overhear it and kind of not directly participate, but he was getting the message. And bless Sean's heart, he and the rest of the men's group went through that process with me. Just over the course of that maybe 2-month period, the cancer had gone from his bladder into other parts of his body. All the medical, all the prayers, everything, nothing seemed to be working. And I was losing him. And I, not that I'm worthy of judging anybody, I'm not. But at that point, I wasn't very comfortable with him, the account that he was going to give to God. And he felt that God had abandoned him, and he was doing his own thing. He'd abandoned God. But growing up, my sister and I, we were always praying for him because it was obvious he wasn't walking with the Lord. Not that I can judge if somebody's saved or not, but we needed more time, and we were running out of time. I prayed on it, and I decided I'm gonna bring him home. And so we got the hospice bed, we got the wheelchair. Even like when we're in the hospital and I've got men's group coming in, and then when I brought him home for hospice, I've got church here. I've got the hospice pastor, Daniel, who was awesome, came in and we're saying prayers. I wanted to shake him, wake up, wake up, wake up. But the Lord told me not to do that, can't thump a Bible. And so I'm being patient and peaceful. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still reading the Bible, still watching online. And then about a week before he passed, he was laying in the bed, quiet. We hadn't probably said 2 words in the last 3 hours. And he just comes out and confesses and acknowledges God's sovereignty. And it was just his soul reaching out to God at that point. That's when the lights came on for me. And I could see, wow, so the Lord was working when I was reading the Bible. The Lord was working when Sean was piping in the men's group for me. The Lord was working with the hospital pastor, and the Lord was working bringing Faith Bridge online into the house. The Lord was working in so many different ways. And then it was like everything came together. It's like different areas of light that all came through the same lens and made this brilliant, beautiful being that just went to heaven. I don't have good words to describe it, I'm sorry. This was the Holy Spirit of God. And he worked through Faith Bridge. Thank you, Faith Bridge, for everything you do. He worked through the Bible. He worked through the hospital people. He worked through so many different people to reach out to this one individual. The Lord truly goes after the one. Like that very next weekend after my father passed away, that's the first day I went in, actually on campus, into Faith Bridge Church. And so, I went a few services, checked it out. We were talking about like different volunteer type opportunities. I said, well, I can run a camera.
They said, well, let's get you into production. We'll introduce you around, see if there's a spot there. But they put me on the schedule for Sunday morning, and they put me on camera 2 to start out with. Loved it. To go from, man, I hope my father wakes up in the Lord, to, yeah, Michael, you can help us do this for other people. And I'm like, yeah, how can I not,